Guys, Asher coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the video. I'm happy to have you here. Talk a little bit of Raid Shadow Legends with me today. I want to make a very controversial, or maybe not a controversial statement. I think there's a new #1 best epic in the game. So, before you guys criticize me and let me have it in the comments below, right? This is just a fun little exercise that we do. I think that, you know, every account is different and every dungeon is different. But I guess this is an exercise that I like to think about from time to time. I mentioned this in another video that I just recorded as well, so forgive me for repeating myself. But if Plarium came to me and they said, hey, you look like a nice fella, Ash. We're going to go ahead and give you one champion of each rarity. Who would you want start out a brand new account?
The only thing more satisfying than convincing someone to do what I want is failing to persuade them on purpose. It's like a do not enter sign. It just begs you to walk through the door.
My new choice, instead of Ugo, for a long time. Ugo had her time in the sun. It's been about 2 years since Ugo was my #1 epic in the champion in the game. But now it has changed because I got to thinking about it. Godseeker Aniri, man. Why is it Godseeker Aniri? Now, before we get into Godseeker Aniri, guys, I have to first give a shout out to another champion that is definitely on the same level, right? To me, again, right now in the game, like after all of these additional dungeons, which we're going to talk about in today's video, I think it's really a conversation of Geomancer and Godseeker Aniri, right? But Geo, I can't take anything away from this dude. I mean, he is a legendary champion. Geomancer is a stud. I still love Ugo and Vogoth and all those other incredible epics, but I think that Geo and Godseeker really stand alone and have carved out a place for themselves as really better than most every legendary champion out there, at least the majority of them in the game. Well, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Godseeker Aniri, what makes her so good, right? So first of all, she's got the heal on the A1, right? On the A2, she's got an AoE, heals all allies 15% of their max HP, then decreases the duration of all buffs on enemies, increases the duration of all buffs on allies. Very, very powerful ability. Whenever you're increasing the duration of all buffs on all allies, there's not that many champions in the game who can even do that. That's like a Krisk-like ability, okay? And then we get to the A3, Rise of Glory. On 4-turn cooldown, revives a dead ally, 50% HP, 50% turn meter, resets the cooldowns of all of their skills. There's no revive like that in the game. But wait, there's more. On the passive, Guardian Angel, increase the amount of healing all allies receive, straight up by 10%. Active effect, if an ally is about to get killed by a
My instinct is to hug you right now.
Gonna get killed by killed by a fatal hit, preempts the hit, and then instantly places a revive on death buff on them for 1 turn before the damage is taken. Why is she so good? Why is she the best now? First of all, she's Void Affinity. You can use her anywhere, any dungeon, any stage. Talking about all the classic dungeons, yeah, she's a great support, great reviver for all the classic dungeons. We've done a guide on her like 2 years ago when she came out in the game, right? But let's think about it. What's the last 3 areas that Plarium has added into the game in terms of end game content? We already know she's a beast for beginner content, right? For mid game content. Let's think about it. It's 2 dungeons and Hydra Clan Boss. Hydra Clan Boss. I'm going to run her in all 3 today in the video. I'm sorry, I'm still a little bit under the weather. Forgive me, guys. Forgive my energy is still high, but I just can't enunciate a little bit more than usual today for some reason. Godseeker Aniri is a beast in Hydra Clan Boss. Just an insanely good champion because of that A2 and of course everything else, right? But look at the other 2 newer dungeons, right? We have Iron Twins and Sand Devil's Necropolis. I was thinking the other day, what epic do I use the most in the game? And it's not even close. It's Godseeker Aniri. She's great against all the Doom Tower bosses as well, right? If you just need a good support champion. So I'm going to show you guys all the teams that I use her on, okay? First off, an unkillable Stage 15 Iron Twins team, right? Actually, let me show you the build really quickly on her first, right? I also want to talk about that Blessing in case you guys are lucky enough to have her on with Blessing Awakened, right? So I have her 2-star Awakened, and I picked up Miracle Heal. Now, it's pretty cool. We're seeing some use to some of the blessings that kind of made no sense before, right? And Miracle Heal is one of them. Has a chance of restoring a portion of any destroyed max HP whenever this champion heals themselves or an ally. The amount of HP restored is equal to a percentage of the heal. So we get 3,000 extra HP. Then we get a 30% chance to restore destroyed max HP when 1 healing. That's going to help a decent amount, again, against the new Sand Devils Necropolis, okay? So I think Miracle Heal, this is like one of the few times it actually makes sense on a champion. For masteries on her, I just went and picked up the extra resist because I'm using her in several different builds in several different ways in today's video. If I was just using her in Hydra Clan Boss, I would definitely go with War Master, probably get a little bit extra damage on the offensive tree. But we want her with higher resist because in other areas of the game, we want her to be resisting, right? Obviously, and I'll show you that and we'll talk about that as the time comes. But the support tree, I think, is mandatory on this champion. Get extra healing. So more HP over there, get Lay on Hands, get Healing Savior, get Merciful Aid, pick them all up, right? But again, for this build, because we want her to be resisting, we have her with a fairly high resist as well. You can see her total stats, 262 on the speed, 51k, 44k on the defense, and then 441. I will note here, 138 accuracy, excuse me, is not going to be enough to fully take advantage of the Quest for Meaning ability because we do require accuracy if we want to decrease the duration of all buffs on all enemies by 1 turn. Now, if I was just running her in Hydra, I would definitely sacrifice some of the resist here and go with some extra accuracy because that's going to help out quite a bit in Hydra Clan Boss as well, decreasing the duration of all buffs on all enemies. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it here, guys.
Showtime, baby.
Let me just show you.
What? Oh, come on, man.
I keep going back to the gear selection. Let me just show you what I have. HP on the ring, HP on the amulet, resistance on the banner. We have speed on the boots, obviously. We have a triple speed set here. We have defense on the chest. We have defense on the gauntlets. I would say one of those changing to HP is a good idea as well. HP is really king right now in terms of sustainability, but this still works as well. Just keeping her alive is going to be, the main idea here, and keeping her going pretty fast for the stages that we're going to be using on her in the end game. So back to stage 15, guys. This is beautiful because this team, even though I have 3 unkillable or block damage champions in Warcaster, Helikath, and Roshkar the Tower, I think I mentioned this before, this is the laziest team I've ever put together. It's not speed tuned. It's not set the rotation. Nothing about this is optimized at all, but it always wins. So what I did here was I just threw a bunch of block damage champions together, and I threw Godseeker Aniri in there in case somebody dies. She will preempt that fatal hit and keep them alive again, and the team just keeps going and going and going. The lazy man's block damage team, ladies and gentlemen. But guys, do you believe me? Am I talking sense to you guys? Do you agree with me? Think about her utility. You can use her everywhere. I mean, I still love champions like Vogoth and Ugo, Seer, some of the other, Man-Eater, some other champions I would definitely put in the conversation, right? But Godseeker and Yuri to me. Ursula the Mourner too, right? White Dryad Naya, maybe? Maybe not, I don't know. But man, she's just next level because of the 3 new dungeons, or the 2 new dungeons and the new clan boss as well. So I was hoping someone would die right away. They're really not here. So let me just wait till somebody dies and you'll see her in action here. All right, guys, so you just missed it, or I just missed it, but we had a Helikath death. She picked him up and we're right back in it. The cool thing is if we had back-to-back deaths, she could pick up a champion like, I don't know, Geomancer or whoever it may be, right? Even if it was Helikath, she could pick him up with a revival and reset all of his abilities. So here between the heals, between that revival, and between that passive, really, really good against the Iron Twins dungeon. Let's go ahead and let's see. Nice. I mean, she basically did all the healing for the entire team, obviously. Let's go ahead and move on over to the Sand Devils Necropolis. I've been farming stage 24 with this team. I absolutely love it, and this is just insane, guys. The reason it's so insane is because she's resetting. Every time Geomancer dies, she's resetting his A3 ability to reapply the HP burn, thus a ton of damage vis-a-vis the passive of Geomancer. So you can see how this team works. We revive on death here. Obviously, that is not using her passive. That was the revive on death that Mother Cybele put on this team. There goes Geomancer. Look at Geomancer's health right now. My man's gonna die, guys. My man is gonna die. But it's okay, because we're gonna go ahead and revive him in just a moment, and then we're gonna reset the cooldown of all of his skills. So we'll be able to come right back in there the next turn and reapply that HP burn. And that's how this team just keeps, there it is right there, right? It just keeps working. This is incredible. It's an incredible combination. And you can abuse this combination as well, that reset the cooldowns against Hydra with Geo as well, right?
Death. It puts even the most powerful men on their back.
Really, really cool. There she goes, picking him up again. I mean, this is just a beautiful, beautiful thing. Is it not, guys? Is it not? There we go. We apply another HP burn to the Sand Devil. Guys, I'm going to come back at you towards the end of this match. You guys get the point. I'll be right back. All right, guys, so here we are getting the job done. Just Brimstone really helps too, man. Brimstone has to be just those smite debuffs. It must be the most powerful blessing out there for PvE content. I absolutely love it on Legendary Champions. But here we go again, Godseeker obviously doing the heavy lifting in terms of the heals, but more importantly, all of those revivals on Geomancer there. So really, really cool. Actually, Elva doing the heavy lifting there on the heals. But yeah, that's my Sand Devils Necropolis team, guys. All right, guys, here we are in Hydra Clan Boss. I have Archbishop Pinthroy. Wait a second. What does Ragash have? Defense in all battles. Let's use Ragash as our lead here. The cool thing is Ragash is coming to the table with increased speed and a strengthen. It's on a 4-turn cooldown, but guess what? We have a buff extender on the team, and same thing with Archbishop Pinthroy, right? He has an increased defense here on a 4-turn cooldown, but we're going to have that much more often, because not only do we have one, but we have 2 buff extenders in Krisk and Godseeker Aniri on this squad. So really, really going to come in handy with those 2 quintessential kind of robust buffs. They're going to help keep the team alive. So let's see how this team does. I actually never ran this team together before, but again, all that extra healing that we're going to be getting throughout the duration, not just on Godseeker with their A2, but keep in mind, Archbishop Pinthroy is a massive healer as well, and the extra 10% heal on straight up all heals from that passive is going to be a massive boom to the overall team, to the overall survivability of the team. So let's go ahead and see what we do here, but again, you're already noticing, right? 3-turn duration on almost all of these buffs, and it's just going to keep getting longer and longer because, again, we have 2 buff extenders on the squad here. I really like running a team like this with 2 buff extenders as well, because what's better than 1? Well, 2. We're just going to keep those buffs on us all the time. So I'm going to run this team out. I'm not sure it's probably going to last a long time because there's a lot of survivability on this squad, but we'll see how long we make it here. I'm not sure if I'm just going to go until I 1-key or we'll just let it run. Either way, I will be back shortly. All right, guys, here we are at turn 200, 33 minutes later. I'm going to stop the run here. We've already 1-keyed it, and this boss is going to be dead anyway. So let's see how everybody did here. I'm curious because I never actually ran this exact team together, but let's see. So Ragash put out 7 million, Godseeker 3 million, 1.7 million in heals, and we already mentioned Archbishop is a beast healer in his own right, and Godseeker put out 3.1 million in damage without War Master. So, factor that in, you probably get a couple extra million damage from a support reviver. Not too bad, right? She does have that AoE on the A2. Michinaki, 25 mil in damage. Archbishop Pinthroy, 9 million, 10 million from Inquisitor, and 7.8 from Krisk. So guys, Godseeker is one of my favorite champions in the game. Hopefully today you can see why. Invest with confidence. This is an easy epic champion to invest in. Max out, 6-star, fully book, use your best artifacts. So many different ways to build this champion as well. You can put her in a curing set for more heals. You can put her in Relentless for more turns. Just a bunch of different possibilities, or just all out speed like we saw in today's video. Guys, thanks so much for watching, and as always, take care, guys.